It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. You can find me at Opperman Investigations and Digital Forensic Consulting, either through my website, emailrevealer.com, or you can just email me directly at oppermaninvestigations@gmail.com. If you like our show, there's a lot more content on Patreon. You go to the Opperman Report Patreon, and we put up about 8 hours of content each month. Plus the shows that you hear here Monday to Friday, we put them up on there with no ads, ad-free. Plus a lot of free content up there as well. Also, too, our archives you can always find free at Spreaker.com. You sign up for free, get an email notification anytime I put up new content, and there's a chat room you can chat with other listeners. Very excited about today's show. I'm watching a TV show yesterday about Jodi Arias. And for me, this was new news. I didn't realize this was an old interview. But we have Donovan Bering, who was, I guess, in pretrial detention over there in Pima County, along with Jodi Arias. And she has a lot of information to share with us. Donovan Bering, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you so much. Can you tell, before we get into the whole story about Jodi Arias, tell us about yourself, Donovan Bering.
Well, I've traveled quite a bit in the last probably 10 years, but I planted my roots in Phoenix, and kind of all my learning experiences pretty much happened in Arizona.
And I guess you raise birds?
Excuse me?
You raise birds?
Uh-uh.
No, I can hear birds chirping in the background, huh?
Oh, that's weird.
Okay. Wait, who is that?
Huh?
That's a bird in the background?
Oh, you can hear the birds?
Yeah, I can hear the birds. Yes.
She's gonna move them.
Oh, no, that's okay. And the birds are fine. I was just
okay.
Okay, so now what happened? This was Pima County Jail?
Yes, it was. It was Estrella Jail.
Okay, and how'd you wind up there?
Well, I got involved with an individual that I was going to go into business with, that she decided to burn her old business down, and got involved in the whole situation of it. And I had just gotten here visiting from Alaska, and that's how I ended up in the jail.
So you were in there awaiting trial yourself?
Yes, I was.
And what was the disposition of that case?
Oh, it's all done. I did all the. There was no jail time, none of that, and did all the probation and everything.
Gotcha. And this was a pre-trial you were there waiting, right?
Correct. And
it turns out, there's a romantic story. You met your wife in there.
Yes, I did.
Okay, how'd that come? It's a love story too, right? So how did that come about?
Well, I got in there. Of course, never been a day in my life have I ever spent time in jail or been arrested, so I was kind of scared. And I walked into the pod, and she just kind of took care of me, made sure everything was okay, and because I was scared. I didn't know what was going on. And so that's how we met, and then we just we stayed in touch all the way until she got out 4 years ago.
But you were romantically involved in the jail?
Yes.
And you got married when you got out?
Yes, we sure did.
What was her charges?
I believe it was kidnapping.
Oh, really? My goodness, okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you said you were in there and you were scared at first, after a while, you realized it wasn't as scary as you thought?
Yeah, and plus when you get to know the people, and, you kind of say to yourself, you don't have any problems. So you just kind of learn to just, turn your nose the other way and just be quiet.
And these are pretty much the same people we deal with every day. A lot of times we don't know our friends and neighbors got mixed up in an arson case or something crazy like that and wound up in jail. We don't even know. You don't see them for a year. You think they quit their job. They moved away or something like that. And you see them again, you find out. So what was your biggest inconvenience or your biggest problem being held in a jail?
It's how do I say it? There's quite a few things. I guess the nutrition and the medical is really bad there. So if you have anything going on, you don't get treated. It's real bad.
Well, what do you say to these people that say, oh, they have it so good, 3 hots in a cot, they got color TV, cable TV? What do you say to those people?
You know, I've met people that will go back because that's all they have. And because when they're out on the streets, they don't have anything, so they get back in and they have their food, they have, place to sleep, they have a shower. So there are people that just do that because they don't have anything on the outside.
Yeah, how tragic is that? That it's better off conditions in our homeless situation we have in this country. Now, tell us about the first day you met Jodi Arias. Who met her first? You or your wife?
Well, she came in the pod door and all of us saw her, but she went straight up into the cell that she would have been sharing with my wife. That was the first time we all saw her.
And how'd she get along with your wife?
Well, at first, because none of us, knew what she was in there for, we thought she was put in there to get, because it was maximum security, and we figured she was put in there to try to get information on people, because nobody could have fathom what she was in there for. So eventually, we all started getting along, and then it worked itself out.
So because she was so clean-cut and well-groomed, you thought that she was some kind of undercover agent or an informant being sent in there to uncover information.
Correct.
On people's cases, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So then, was she nervous too? Like you said, when you went in, you were nervous. Did she seem nervous?
No. She walked in. She had this straight look on her face, had her belongings in front of her, and just walked straight up the stairs. Now,
was that her first day in jail, or had they kept her in another section before she was transferred there?
I believe she was in a different section until she was transferred to Estrella, because she came from California, I believe, to Arizona, and then they got her into the Estrella jail. Gotcha.
Okay, so she was already comfortable because she had been in jail in California too. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then how did the friendship come along? How was it established?
Well, I had never been in jail before. You could tell that she was, not really comfortable, but more comfortable than me. And we just sat down at the same table and started talking. And she started talking and opening up to my wife upstairs. And then when we'd come down and play cards and stuff or whatever, talking, she started opening up and got more comfortable and more comfortable.
How did she get along with the other women there?
She didn't have a lot of friends. She would buy people. I mean, she'd put stuff on their books or things like that, but she didn't have really any other friends.
Where was she getting money from?
She was getting money from all over. I believe her family, and then a lot of these guys that were intrigued with her and people out of the country, they started just, sending her all kinds of stuff.
So, but even at that point, she hadn't confided in you and said, "Hey, I'm Jodi Arias. I'm here for murder. My case is all over the news."
Eventually, it did come out, but it was quite a bit. It was probably, I want to say, maybe it took a few weeks, because you don't watch the news in jail. So we had no clue until finally it got out.
But what about people?
You can only keep it quiet. So you can only keep it quiet really so long.
Yeah, but what about people that just arrived? They were watching the news the night before, and they got a DUI, and they got to do 6 months. And they just arrived.
Yeah.
Didn't they recognize her?
Yeah, and a lot of people would try to say they knew information about her to get a lighter sentence. I mean, they would just lie. Because Jodi didn't do that. Didn't just come out to anybody and tell them things. So, yeah, they would come in. They would know her. They would know who she was.
No, okay. So then it was the word was kind of out.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying so the word was kind of out that this was Jodi Arias and she was on TV for murder.
Yep, that was starting to.
When you heard she was in there for a murder charge, were you shocked?
Yeah, absolutely, because when you meet her, you really you can't even fathom, her doing that. Now, when you first meet her, because you don't know details or anything, but people were shocked.
Now, when she would leave the pod and go to court for court appearances, would she come back and complain about her attorneys?
A couple of times she did with me, and I'm not sure what she talked about with her roommate, but she would tell me how discouraged she was with
the quality of her legal representation.
Yes, especially the first set of lawyers, and then she got these other ones, and it was nothing but, I mean, it seemed like tension from day one.
Okay. And now, was she on the phone a lot?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, nonstop.
Okay. So now, now, when you started, what did she tell you happened? Well, what was her version of the events that happened and caused her to wind up there in jail, facing murder charges?
When we were in there, her story was it was self-defense.
Right.
That he was attacking her, and that was the story she stood by. I didn't start finding out, more detailed information until after I went home and became real good friends with her mom and family.
So there in the jail, she was telling you it was self-defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the story she had for quite a while.
And then what reason did she give you that Travis was attacking her?
That was her excuse for doing all that she did. So, I mean, it was like an overkill, but yeah, that was her excuse for protecting herself, supposedly.
So her story was that she traveled all the way to Utah to visit Travis, but then they got into a dispute and he attacked her?
Yeah, well, Travis was in Mesa, so she came to Mesa.
Okay.
Met with them because she was going to go to Utah. She had a guy she was supposed to meet there, but they got into, they stayed there. They, always would have sex and that, and then all of a sudden, he did come after her because he was seeing other people, and she started to attack him, and one thing led to another. I mean, it was like an overkill.
Okay. Now, I saw on the TV show the other day you said that she was involved in witchcraft?
Yeah. Yeah, she was into, for a while, she was into the black magic and areas of that, and then she kind of worked her way up to different, I guess you want to say, beliefs, and then the last was her being Mormon. Okay,
now that's interesting. So when she came into the jail, she was practicing black magic?
No. She had already been baptized and all that into Travis's church and that. So.
Okay, so she was into black magic as a child, then converted to Mormonism, LDS, and then back in jail, back to black magic?
No, I don't know. My wife was there with her.
Okay.
But the whole time she would talk to me, she always had the like a Mormon book, and she would. But she was very educated in many different beliefs also. But I never saw her practice black magic in the jail. I know she did when she was growing up.
Okay, and do you know who influenced her to get into that?
I believe I was told it was her boyfriend.
She had a boyfriend, okay. But your wife, in the interview I saw of your wife on TV the other day, she said that she saw her doing this witchcraft and black magic there in the jail.
And then she probably did, because they were upstairs. I was downstairs.
So that's fascinating. So your wife never mentioned that to you? Says, hey, she was up there doing all this stuff. She didn't do.
Yeah, because you don't know who. You stay really quiet in there because you don't know who's listening and what they're listening for, just to better themselves. So you just kind of have to choose what, I guess, you talk about and stuff.
Now, were you there while she was on trial?
No, I went home in, let me think, October, November, December, January, in March, and I was friends with her mom and all that, and we were writing, and I was doing her posting and stuff. So I started when she went to, right when she started her trial, I was there with her mom.
Oh, so you would go to the court with her mom?
Yes, with her family.
Because when you got out of jail, you took over her social media. Now, what did that involve?
Well, sometimes it would be really ugly. She always liked to lash out at her parents or, embarrass people, and that was one way, was through the internet. And I used to run it, yes, but until she started getting really, into, like, to me, embarrassing her family, and that's when I locked her out and I stopped doing it.
Yeah, that's right. At one point, you actually locked her out of her own social media.
Yes, I did.
Okay, because you were upset about some allegations she was making about her father?
Yeah, and, in her family, it was just really sad.
Because by that time, you had become friendly with her mother and father.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, At one point, you were